Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome to a Saturday Rambling. That took you all by surprise, didn't it? You weren't expecting that. You thought, oh god, he's not done one again this week. Well, I did think about doing one yesterday, and I don't know, I just didn't feel the need. And I was still kind of trying to think about what it was I wanted to talk about. I did have one topic in mind, which we will talk about. And as promised, I'm also wearing the final t-shirt from Christmas. Yes, that's how long it's taken for me to make 4 vlogs. But yes, there we are, South Park crew. So this is probably my least favourite of all the t-shirts, and only because I love South Park, but only for what a simple reason is, subliminally, no, not subliminally, out the corner of my eye, kind of thing, when I'm not focusing on the t-shirt, I kind of see the pink of the faces, and I feel like I'm wearing a boob t-shirt. So that's why, because every time I kind of catch the t-shirt out of the bottom of my eye, that's what I think I'm wearing for some bizarre reason. So there you are. So that's the reason that it's my least favourite, I think, because I love South Park though, and it's still a great t-shirt, and I'll still wear it, but I probably won't wear it as much as the others. So yes, so here we are, a Saturday Rambling. I've spent all day gutting and cleaning my flat because it just needed a good clean, and I always love it when my shit is nice and shiny, people. Can't think of any other way to put it, especially all the technical stuff, especially the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One and even now the PS3 and the 360, all that, my TV. I love it when I shine up all day, even my PC, my monitor, everything. But the whole flat got it. It wasn't just the electrical stuff. God, I was washing walls at one point. What is that all about on a Saturday? Must be the spring cleaner in me, eh? I don't know, eh? A man that cleans? How am I still single, people? Tell me how. Well, I'll tell you how. In fact, I'll tell you now. Because this vlog's about me being wrong, people. It is. And I'm been wrong a lot in my life, which is probably why I am single. But I was wrong about Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm glad I'm wrong, because I really wanted that game to be something spectacular. I just felt in my heart that it was going to be a good game, not a great game. And every single review that I've seen outside of complete prats that put stupid scores on Metacritic just to get attention, it's holding a steady 88, which is fantastic. I mean, that is a great Metacritic score to get from all of the proper reviewers. So they've all just sung praise about that game all over the place, and all the things that I was worried about are actually, I shouldn't have been, because they've covered it. So, you know, they're talking about a rich story, which was something because I just didn't get that from the trailers. From the trailers, I got that it was a big world. I got that there was a big baddie in it. I got that they were taking over the machines to their will. It just felt, and I said it in one of my previous vlogs, I felt from the trailers that it was going to be a bit Mad Maxy, and it was kind of simplistic in its story, and that is not the case at all. Apparently it is a story that takes you by surprise, a story that keeps you driven all the way through it. It's about 40 hours long if you play the campaign and do enough in the main world to level yourself up, I think, to finish it. But you can do so much longer in it because it's just massive. And I think they've said that you can carry on after the game and finish off quests and stuff. I think. Don't take my word on that. They have said that about another game that we'll talk about in a minute. Blimey, my phone's going off because I forgot to put it on silent. That's very unprofessional. And so yeah, so the story's nice and tight, which was something I'm going to turn my phone off while I'm speaking. I'm not even going to edit this video. I'm just going to do it. So yes, the story's nice and tight. The combat's slick. It looks gorgeous. The combat and the RPG level up system is really, really cool, apparently. And you get real purpose in fighting the massive creatures to get all of the sort of gadget bits off them and all it. And one of the things that concerns me about big worlds, probably the biggest thing that concerns me, I can live without a great story, because Skyrim's not got a great story. It's got a decent story. It's not great. You know, it is what it is. But that's not what made Skyrim great. What made Skyrim great was the world was full of things that you just like, wow, when you were just wandering through the snow and you just discovered something out of the blue, or it was all that sort of stuff, and it was living in that world, breathing in that world. It wasn't the story. It was nothing to do with the story. It was all of that, and the music and the feel and the vibe they gave that whole game. So the thing that always worries me most about massive games is that there's not anything interesting to do in that massive environment, and there isn't anything interesting to discover in that massive environment. And it's probably one of the things that was lacking in Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition, I love Dragon Age Inquisition. I platinumed that game and I loved it, but one of the things that was missing was you walked into a cave, it was about 5 meters long, and you walked back out again. So there was the level of discovery wasn't as rich as something like Skyrim was, and they didn't, they weren't building a game to be like that. So fine, I kind of get that, but so that concern has also been addressed from the reviews that I've seen, because they're saying that it is a really rich environment. They're saying that they did discover stuff that was like, wow, I didn't expect to stumble across that. They're saying the side quests are great. They're saying that there's really rich characters within that world that you meet randomly. So all of the things that I was worried about, I shouldn't have been worried about. The game is just, there's without any, I mean, I would argue that it will probably get Game of the Year in the next set of things, unless something really rocks out high caliber, unless Mass Effect does something extraordinary. But I suspect Mass Effect, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I suspect it'll be much of the same that we've had, just a bit richer, a bit deeper, a bit more pretty, which is fine. Don't want any more than that. But I think for a new IP to come out and really nail it like that is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the guys at Game Kind of Funny, they were like, they think it's the best IP to come out of a PlayStation studio other than The Last of Us, which is a massive bit of praise, considering you've got things like Bloodborne out there, which got really high critical acclaim from people, and Uncharted 4 and all these sorts of things, So it is massive praise that, for a brand new IP from a studio that previously did the Killzone series, which was liked by the PlayStation players, but it was never really a loved franchise. It was, in fact, the best one, in my opinion, is Shadowfall. I think Shadowfall is a fantastic game, and if you haven't, that was a launch title, and I love that game. I love the story in it. I love the fact that it's more stealth than it is action. It was beautiful to look at. It was really well thought through. The level design was fantastic. The characters were great, and they did a great job with it. But it wasn't. It was a great game, but not a fantastic game that really blew your mind. So that Killzone series was kind of like that. The other two were far more action orientated, trying to compete with COD and such, like I assume at the time. So for them they've obviously just been wanting to do, this has been something building for quite some time with Guerrilla Games, so I just cannot give them enough praise for coming out with something just as good as that. And bear in mind, I'm talking about it before I've even played it, but you can go by what all of these people have said about this game. So I'm stoked for it now, and I will be getting it. There'll be a little delay in me getting it because I have to go away and do some family things this week, which are always far more important than anything else, people. Remember that. Family first, loved ones first, then gaming. And well, if you can combine the two, all the better. But yeah, so I have to do some family things this week, which will sort of collide with the launch date of it somewhat. So I'll probably not. I will buy it for coming back and get stuck into it, but I won't be sort of straight off the bat. And I'm not going to do anything like, I'm not going to like stream it straight off the bat as a get, because I don't think people want to see the story and stuff anyway. So what I might do is, if it cracks open to the point where I'm wandering around aimlessly, not doing any sort of story stuff, I might stream a bit of that, or I might just do some videos on it. So I haven't got any plans to do anything like that. I really want to enjoy this game for playing it as a game, not sort of just sitting online. And I love being online with you guys, but as I've said in a previous vlog, it becomes more about the community than it does about the game. So it becomes more about chit-chatting and having a laugh than it does about being that intense about the story. And when I first get a game, I like to experience the game first. So there you are. So I'm mega stoked about it. I'm going to get it. And I've changed my mind somewhat about picking and choosing between this game and the next game we're going to talk about, which is Mass Effect Andromeda. And I think I'm going to buy both, and I'm going to effectively not buy a game the following month. So I kind of budget for a good game every month, and if I see a bargain, I might tap into that as well if it's really cheap. But don't think there's anything in March apart. Well, there's obviously the Switch coming out, but I'm not buying a Switch, so there's nothing sort of grandiose in March that I'm sort of chapping at the bit for, or chomping at the bit, isn't it? Chomping at the bit, in fact, chomping at the bit for. So I will class Mass Effect as my March game. So, but I suspect I won't have finished Horizon by then. But Mass Effect also released. They released a new. What's the word I'm looking for? Trailer, clip, we call it in this country. A new clip, and it was all sort of action orientated, talking over what the different battle moves are you can do in fights, and so all your powers, all your weapons, all your upgrades, and I don't like, to some extent, the only things that, well, they don't worry me, but the only things that kind of cross my mind with this, and I don't get me wrong, I think Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be fantastic, and as I told you all, I would have bought that over Horizon before all the Horizon reviews came out. But I kind of concern myself a little bit with the fact that they might have simplified things a little bit too much, so far as almost like when they went from Origins and then did Dragon Age 2, which a lot of people didn't like, but then Inquisition came along. I loved Inquisition again, as I said, but they had simplified an awful lot of things, so there wasn't a huge amount of variety in what you were doing. It was all pretty, like, these are the lines I can go down for this particular rogue character or whatever. So they had simplified it to the point where you used to have two weapon out, what they're called, weapon... swap outs, effectively, but they weren't called swap outs. So you could be a rogue, but you could be set up for both bow and for daggers, and you would just swap between the two classes on the fly as you were going. And that was only in Origins, as far as I remember. I don't think it was in 2, and certainly wasn't in Inquisition. And it might have been in 2. I might be wrong about that, but it wasn't in Inquisition. And I was really gutted about it because I loved that feature that I could just and it wasn't that it made it too easy for me. It was just that it was great to be able to change style in a given circumstance, and it made it more interesting that you had more things to go for in your upgrade tree. So it made you think about more, it made you go for more, and it made you go for more XP because you had to spend more of it to get the moves. So I'm just worried that they might have gone that way with it after watching that clip. It looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It looks great fun. It looks like I'm going to love it. I think they might have gone down that route with it as well. And the other thing was that from some of the things I was talking about, it sounds like, or the things I was hearing, it sounds like the quest, sort of sidey type quests for your buddies and stuff, sound like they're going to be really similar to what they were before. So you will do quests with each of the people in the crew that you've got, and that levels up your relationship with them and stuff. I just hope that they've kind of given that a bit more thought and feel, but it might just be a one-line. The thing is, it's always been, but Mass Effect and Origins games have always been about decision making to some extent. There was a massive amount of kickoff about the fact that the choices we made in Mass Effect didn't impact the universe anywhere near enough as they said it was going to. So it'd be very interesting to see if they've actually taken that on board for this new franchise of it, and see if they're going to give us something far more interesting. But we'll see. But those are tiny little things. I'm still totally stoked for that game. I can't wait. I can't believe that they're kind of the only people outside of Prey from Bethesda or Arcane Studios who did Dishonored. Prey's coming out in May, and that's another space game. But I can't believe that there's so few space games on console. It's like, of all the environments that I want to explore, that's the one. And I've always begged for games that were set in a sort of universe where I can get. No Man's Sky kind of promised it and never really delivered because it's not exciting enough. That's basically what that game's problem was. It wasn't exciting and it wasn't interesting after you'd, go to a planet, loot all the, destroy it, getting all the rocks out of it, and then move on. So there wasn't anything interesting to do. So Mass Effect's kind of the go-to game for living, breathing gaming in space. So that's why I'm stoked for it, because not only why, but it is the only one I can think of off the top of my head that's going to take me into that universe, for want of a better word. Totally stoked for it. So there you are. That's it. That's all I had for this week. I just wanted to say I was wrong. But you all knew that anyway. I'm wrong all the time. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking with me. I know I don't do, like, there are weeks where I don't do as many videos as I do other times. Like, I get excited about streaming sometimes. I do 4 on the bounce and I don't do them for a week and then blah. I'm a little bit random. So I do thank you all for sticking with me. I love the fact that you have done. I love the fact that you're enjoying watching my ugly mug, to stick around for that scenario, and the fact that I don't do them regularly. I mean, the fact I don't plan in, or you don't know when I'm going to post a video, the very fact you stick around anyway, it means a lot to me. So thank you very much indeed. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you all again in this random Saturday vlog, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy, guys. Bye.